this idea that, come home from a hard day and have a couple of drinks and what that means. And I know that's very popular within the workforce. I have a different kind of workforce. My working doesn't look the same as everybody else's, but I know this is a very popular thing to come home and like numb out with alcohol or numb out with the TV or numb out with your phone and just kind of numb out because you've had a really hard day. Yeah. And I kind of pushed it back to him and told him, I don't like doing those things because all it's doing is pausing my life. Yes. I'm not feeling my feelings. I'm not growing. I'm not learning anything. I'm literally just existing. And I don't want to just exist in my life. I feel like as a kid, that's all I did. I was in trauma just existing. And so I'm not saying that every single second of every single day I need to be pushing towards growth. That's unrealistic as well. But like, if I'm not growing, I feel like shit. And that's what I learned on 75 Hard. Like, if I'm not pushing myself somewhere, I feel like utter shit. Okay. Yeah. And so I pushed myself a little hard on 75 Hard. I went a little overboard.
There were days that I was like, I don't know how she's going to make it, because you did, from the back pain that just lingered for weeks on. And by the way, how is the back pain? I haven't asked you in a while. Is it better? Okay. No more heating pad while we're recording.
No more heating pad. But I loved listening to Andy Frisella as I was doing the 75 Hard program. I would listen to his podcast, and I still listen to his podcast. We're very different people. Him and I believe very different politically, but his personal development stuff is golden. And one of these things that he talks about is self-love isn't this frivolous bullshit that you and I have already said. And he even goes a little bit harder in, self-love is created. Like, loving yourself is not something you just wake up, look in the mirror and go, yes, bitch. No, you create that.
Well, and there are some people that take it to the narcissistic level of, well, yeah, I do love myself. I only love myself to the exclusion of everyone else. And look, if you have self-love, you include everybody around you. Self-love means you love yourself first so that you be loving to other people. A narcissist, which we've talked about very extensively on this show many times, they will have that self-love and everyone else be damned.
Yes. So self-love for me, what I learned on that program was, here's the tough truth. It's doing the list. It's doing the list. I began to love myself, not because I looked into the mirror and I said, that's my perfect body. That's not self-love. That's not self-love. I looked in the mirror and go, you're doing the damn thing. You're getting up, and and self-love, self-respect, and self-trust kind of all go together. And so the more that I followed through on the list that I said I was going to, I began to trust myself. We lose trust for ourselves. And in losing trust in ourselves, we lose love for ourselves. It's the same thing when you have an external relationship with somebody else. If you can't trust them, you can't love them. You can't trust somebody, you can't love them. So if you can't trust yourself when you say, oh, I'm going to start this new workout routine, and then you give up on yourself, you are teaching yourself not to love yourself by not trusting yourself. You can't trust yourself because you don't follow through on your word. So every single day I woke up on 75 Hard, it was brutal. It was brutal. But by the end of it, I knew that when I said I was going to do something, I was going to do something. Like, even now, I picked up another book. I took a couple weeks off and gave myself a much needed slow down period. I didn't quit. I just slowed down because I was going pretty hard for a while.
You went to the gym, but you took away the walks, which you've just added back, and you let yourself have that moment, the Halloween party you had. But yeah, I mean, you've pretty much done all the things that you did, just at a much slower pace, and that's cool.
Yeah, and so I picked books back up, and by picking books back up, that is me. I picked it up and said, I'm going to read this book. Now, in the past, I would have picked it up, read a couple pages, got bored one day, didn't pick it up, and then I'd never pick it up again.
Right.
But now I know, because I trust myself and I love myself enough to stay dedicated. I picked this book up. I said, I'm going to read this. I know now I'm going to read it because I have such a level of self-love, respect, and trust for myself. I'm going to make the thing happen.
And you're a learned woman because of it. By the way, the list thing that you mentioned earlier, I have my list of things, a whole mile-long list of things I do every day. my act of self-love was, I'm getting these done by 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And the very last one, I took a cold shower. Because it's cold enough outside now that the pipes are cold enough that if I do the cold shower, it's basically an ice bath. And so I've been doing those, and that was the last thing I did right at 10 o'clock. So by 10:15 this morning, I was done. Sometimes I'm scrambling at the end of the day, kind of like what you did. There were some days that you hadn't even got your first workout in. You had to do 2 of them a day. Your first workout in is past 5 o'clock. And I'm like, how is she going to do it? We're out there walking at almost midnight. That's how you did it. And so it's cool to like say, okay, it's all done. Now I can do other things like working on our book. I'm really kind of, we're progressing quite well on the book is the point. So coming to you in early 2022. We'll leave it right there for now. But so I'll have time on this afternoon to work on that some more. I need to go to the store. Like I did all that, got it done, checked it off and said, okay, those things are important to me, but I don't need to spread them throughout the day. Maybe I can get them done by 10 so I can go do things that I need to do. And that's my part of like buying back moments in my life, time in my life that if I didn't have the self-love, I would have just lackadaisically go through the day and, well, if I get to them, I will. No, they never get done if you get to them, you will.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to bring Andy Frisella up just again because this process that he talks about is amazing.
Just a reminder, people, Andy Frisella is the guy that created the 75 Hard program, in case people haven't heard of him before.
So Andy Frisella, when I was listening to his podcast, he says there's a thing that he does where if he gets these things done, he wins the day. He gives himself a check mark and he wins the day. And he wants to see more wins than losses. And so in his mind, he can't sit back, relax until he wins the day. And I kind of like this. I do not like the idea of earning your calories or earning your rest or earning No. That's not what I'm saying. Is you have a list, and he said, keep it freaking simple. Stop giving yourself 15 things to do in a day. You're never going to get it done, and you're going to feel like a loser at the end of the day because you've given yourself too much to accomplish, and it's not possible. Stop setting yourself up for failure. So when we're talking about self-love, give yourself 3 to 5 tasks, even if it's new things every single day, okay? Sometimes you just got to sit down 5 minutes, come up with 3 to 5 tasks that you need to accomplish for that day for you to give yourself a check mark and say, I won the day. Give yourself... I'm sorry, I have it right here next to me. Oop, my stuff's falling out. I have this book. This is my planner. She believed she could, so she fucking did. That's my planner. I love it. It's a square planner. And I literally will check mark if I won the day by doing all of my tasks.
What are the tasks? Let's hear them.
Okay, so they do change depending on the day, but usually it's some type of movement. I'm not saying go to the gym at 3 a.m. It doesn't always work, okay? I love going to the gym, but right now with Wild Man's schedule, I can't. So I started walking again, and I started accepting, okay, Brittany, we don't need to work out and walk every single day, okay? Sometimes we need to calm down and just go for a light leisure walk, nothing crazy, not trying to pour sweat here. This is things I have to tell myself. So literally it's just movement, whatever that equals. Maybe that's just dance with the kids. Maybe that's a walk in the backyard. Maybe that's playing soccer with the kids. Maybe that is go to the gym. It's just movement.
Maybe it's on a day when you're pain from your stitches and your scar, and all you can do is just lift weights in the air. You're doing something.
Literally just movement. That is literally my only goal. So I check mark that.
And talking with your tongue for an hour does not count as movement on our podcast. Although it does move quite a bit.
Yeah, it really does. Water. This is the one where I have been losing my day ever since 75 Hard was over. So 75 Hard was a gallon a day. After the end of that, I was like, I am so sick of water. I don't even want to look at it. So I've been pretty shoddy with my water drinking lately, but I'm back on. And so my goal is half a gallon a day. That's one of the parts for me to win my day, half a gallon. Nice. Then one of the ones that nobody wants to hear this, part of self-love and self-respect is the food you put in your body. I am not saying that you can't eat donuts, okay? I hate donuts, that's why I use it. I'm not saying that you can't eat junk food. I'm not saying that. But here's the thing that you have to ask yourself. Does this bless my body? That equals different things on different days.
Or eat like give a damn about yourself. I've heard that expression a lot as well.
Yes. So I had a Halloween party, guys. Okay. I didn't eat very clean.
And she had that weren't necessarily great foods. But look, you had a mixed crowd, people that was there, mind having junk, and then you had things that were, you had lots of little cheese and little things, and yeah. And I partook in both.
Yeah, and it blessed me. It blessed me to have that experience that I ate these things, I drank this alcohol, I had fun and relaxed with my friends and my family, and it blessed me so much. I woke up the next morning with a little bit of a headache, no problem. Shameless plug, Elements. I took my Elements the next morning, and amazing. Hangover gone. I don't have one next to me. Yes, shameless plug. Element, thank you for coming through on the hangover remedy there. Literally, I drank my Element, I was better. And it was so worth it, and it blessed me so much to have that experience with my friends and have that party. And that's what I'm talking about when I say, does it bless you? So 98% of the time, I'm eating things like turkey burgers and salads because I love it. It blesses me to eat those kinds of things. This morning I had an egg white omelet and an English muffin. Delicious. I loved every second of eating that meal. That blessed me. But that Halloween party also blessed me. So that's one of the things I wanted to say. That was a little side note that is part of self-love, is treating your body with respect. So that's on my list. That's my third one on my list.
Which means occasionally having a party and having a moment. It's why I try to tell people, if you go into a birthday party for your kid and you want some of that birthday cake, don't. Somebody on my walk and talk the other day was like, I ate something off plan, and what can I do? I'm like, love yourself enough to get right back on the plan again. Like, why do you beat yourself up over one little indiscretion?
Okay, side note. Okay, I just have to. All right, I took 3 weeks, a little bit over 3 weeks off after the 75 hard, very strict on 75 hard. Literally, in the course of 3 weeks, I've gained 5 pounds. I haven't weighed. I haven't tracked. I barely worked out. 3 weeks, and the 5 pounds was all water weight, mostly from the alcohol that I had. And so, like, I try to tell people, like, one meal, one thing, why are we stressing? That's the least form of self-love that you can do. You are stressing over literally. Guys, come on, let's move on with our life. Okay, but back to my list. Those are my top 3. I want to make sure I get my water in, I get some kind of movement in, I bless my body with what I eat. Now let's get into, those are my daily list. Those are things that I check that I win my day. Usually there's some box that has to do with our book. Excuse me. Our book, podcast.
There's the party coming up 3.5 days.
Yes. Either a check mark about some task I want to get done with our book, with our podcast. I'm doing some things for my dad and his business, some things for my mom and her business. There's some kind of work related check mark. And usually I keep it 3 to 5 things, and that's my day. If I check all those off, I win the day. Now I can trust myself. And it's not like I can't love myself unless I do those things. No. That's not how it goes. But by doing those things, I'm creating that sense of trust that I will get these things done and creating that love.
Although, because you have this expectation for yourself, that's a part of you winning the day, there are moments when you have freaked out. Jimmy, I need to get you a chapter for the book, and you would be so upset. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm not putting that pressure on you. Where is this pressure coming from? It's your choice. That now I know. Now it makes sense.
Yes. So you have to balance it a little bit. But another way to, and we've said this so many times, we have kind of interchangeably connected self-love and self-respect. And that's something that we don't really, that's not something that I see within the community. So there was a thing that Wyman and I went through early on in our marriage. It was a marriage thing that Emerson Eggerichs is his name. And he wrote a book called Love and Respect.